So I wanted to create a video to talk about what happens when a client doesn't pay. There's a lot of things that go into that scenario. There is the emotional aspect. You're mad, you're sad, you're frustrated, you're scared. And there's a legal aspect. And those two things often either get pushed together or sometimes they get pulled apart. Purposes of this video, we're going to assume that you have a binding contract and they need to pay you. And they don't have any defenses to that. And so what happens from there? A lot of it will depend on the amount of money that's owed. That's a big one. So if it's a small amount of money, it may not be worth going after that person, which can feel really frustrating to a small business owner who maybe has a contract for a few $1,000s where the legal fees would end up costing more than the actual amount. In those instances, you can look at collections. You can even look at small claims court, depending on how much emotion you want to put into it. If you have a larger amount or it does matter to you and you do want to spend the money, you certainly can hire an attorney, can help you, give you advice. I always recommend at minimum talking to your attorney just to get a little bit more information from them to make sure there aren't any other issues you're not aware of. But then there's the emotional aspect, right? You got to fight for yourself a little bit. And sometimes our instinct as entrepreneurs is to be apologetic or to be kind, or sometimes it's to be super mean. And so I like to sort of find the middle ground, the firmness, but also leading with respect. And so one thing that I always like to tell people is just because you are kind does not mean you're weak. So having and being able to write a really strong email to somebody who owes you something or has wronged you in some way is a really important skill to have as an entrepreneur. So I would recommend that if this is hard for you, if you hate conflict, which I get, not many people like it, to have a buddy who can read it for you, who can look at it and make it a little bit harsher if need be, or make it a little bit softer. But always know that leading with respect does not necessarily mean that you don't have to take a strong position or you shouldn't allow yourself to be pushed over. There is a really good middle ground, and that is different for everybody. So take the time for yourself to know what makes you most comfortable and how you feel when you're writing these emails, and know what your tone needs to be. I think it's really a skill that takes time. I've been working on it for the last 15 years since I've been a lawyer, and so it is something that I continually work on. But I think it's a really important skill that all business owners and entrepreneurs can have. Thanks so much for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic.